Twisted Fusion! This is an adventure game with a sense of humor, at times. You travel through the lands, going in towers to find objects that might get you home. This was an odd title because it had a lot more to it than I expected, like a lot of options. Especially for something I would consider as a budget title for only $5. In fact, I was shocked that this wasn't being sold for more. Oh, by the way, you've probably seen all these flashing pictures. This is the loading screen, and I'm showing this to you in real time. This game takes a while to load. I mean, let's check out the clock. I kind of expect this with AAA titles, as it's visually taxing. It has a lot of color, background, and overall elements to load in. However, this game is not that. It looks good, but it's not exactly visually stunning. It kind of looks like one of those games you'd make with an RPG maker. Not bad, but not great. Yep, this thing is still going. Luckily, when you actually get into the game, it has quick loading times. So, what's everyone up to? What does everyone think of the Nintendo Switch? It looks interesting. Okay, I can't stand this. Fast forward. It almost takes 2 minutes to get to the start screen. Alright, there we go. Twisted Fusion. First off, I need to say this was sent to me from the publisher, so I'm going to disclose that right away. The story is that you're hanging out in your town one day when all of a sudden, you and the other townsfolk get transported to a different world, and you're going to need to find your way home. Now, I think I need to get the elephant in the room out right away. Why is everything so zoomed out? I played this thing on a large screen TV, and I had to go get my glasses to play this, because it was just so difficult to see your character. It's a little bit better on the gamepad, but it still looks far away. When I move closer to the screen, I can see the little details in the characters. It's just too bad there isn't a zoom in feature. But occasionally you will see anime-esque characters pop up. I like these individual people that you come across. They each have models that look like they were made with care. It's just so strange that the chat graphics don't look anything like the actual game. Or maybe they do and I just can't see it that clearly because it's so zoomed out. The worlds you explore were kind of generic. They never felt like a living world. It's hard to explain, but when you're playing a Mario or Metroid game, they have obstacles or things to explore that feels like it should be there because that's the way the world is. In this, it feels like they added in barriers just to slow you down. And it doesn't feel natural. It kind of feels like a maze more than a world. I came across quite a few people in my journey traveling through these boxy areas. Like for example, this one guy who's trapped in this area where you need a jetpack to get around. He says he's cold and we tell him that he needs to go east for warmer climates, which is true for this game. And then we just leave him there. He has no way to get up. He's gonna die there and we have no reaction to this. It kind of feels like no person that we come across will ever give a care about going exploring and they decide to stay in their exact spot. This maze should be littered with people moving throughout it with the amount of people I'm come across. I mean, did none of these people have a survival instinct? You can get upgrades to your moves, defense abilities, and weapons with the money that you collect. The first upgrade that you're going to need to get is the jetpack. It's only 1,000 gems and it will improve the gameplay 100%. It makes this title way more fun and playable. It lets you fly around for a limited amount of time. It refills your fuel every time you touch the ground. So you can do a lot of flying in this game. There are quests to do and they pay out more depending on the difficulty of the mission. Usually it's find a number of these objects or kill a certain number of aliens. You can decrease the difficulty of the enemies with just a push of the button and a slide of the bar at any time. The advantage to this is that you'll get more money, but the higher the difficulty of the monster, the more damage you'll take too. Plus the amount of hits it takes to kill these creatures will go up as well, to almost crazy levels. At level 9, which is the maximum level, I think it took me like 50 hits to kill one plant monster, but it was good for almost 100 gems, so you're going to want to spam these guys for quick upgrades of your abilities. You're going to need to find towers, which are basically the dungeons. And when you get to these towers, you're going to need to climb them to get to the boss at the top. You're going to need to find keys, which are hidden throughout the tower. In the towers that I played, they were just really run-of-the-mill, and there was really nothing very clever in them. To progress through the game, you usually have to find hidden areas or press the switches to lower the gates. You can play this game with multiple people, but only one person is in the lead. Everyone else needs to stay in the lead person's area. The other characters can't even load another area. Only the leader can do that. It was very limiting, especially if the leader loves to make random moves through the map, or he decides to use his super speed ability. Then it's really hard to keep up. If the leader goes too far ahead and you're gone, it'll just pop you to where the leader is. It was just annoying. Plus I noticed some slowdown in the frame rate when there were multiple people playing occasionally. Truthfully, this is better as a one-player game, so most of the time you're going to want to play it that that way, so this really is not an issue. There's also a monster raising thing, but it was so confusing and 100% optional. You get eggs, and those eggs turn into monsters. You feed the monsters and they level up. You give them energy. You get a team together so you can climb up these towers of ranks, I guess. Then you get so far on that chart, and it's just, I don't understand what's happening here other than moving on a graph. The whole thing seemed like an afterthought, and it wasn't compelling at all. Like I said, though, it was completely optional, so I just wouldn't bother. I was very impressed with the music. It had a very fun feel to it, although it got a little buggy at times, with the music resetting out of the blue. In fact, this game is very buggy, but it never ran into any critical bugs. Just me spawning in the floor, or jetpack gas tank bar disappearing, or even my screen messing up just a little bit. Like I said, it was more funny when I ran into this stuff than being annoying. These are just minor things. I never had any critical crashes. Twisted Fusion. This game was okay. Sure, it had its issues, and the perspective was set way too far away, especially for an old man like me. It controlled alright. I liked the different characters that you could change into, and they each had their own special attacks, so it made it worth changing between them. The game is only $5, and I think that's an extremely reasonable price for this. So I think if you enjoy dungeon crawling or exploring worlds, yeah, I think this is definitely worth a buy. Well, that's my review of Twisted Fusion. Want to check out my last review of Paper Mario Color Splash. Or you can check out our discussion of what we think of the new Nintendo Switch. If you like, you can follow me on Twitter at Wiiviewer, where I talk about the latest Nintendo news of the day and stuff about my channel. And I thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.